All right, welcome to the third LeCats RedCap Hour presented by LeCats Cyber Infrastructure Enhancement KCA. I'm David Alexander, and with me is Daniel Lorio.
Hello.
Welcome to the Halloween edition of the RedCap Hour. Like I said, I'm David Alexander, the Core Director for Cyber Infrastructure Enhancement. Daniel Lorio is our RedCap Administrator. And, yes, go.
Go ahead.
Oh, just if you have any questions for us today, just email redcap@pbrc.edu or any day. Really, just send your questions to redcap@pbrc.edu, and we're happy to answer them. Okay, our agenda for today, we're going to talk about feedback, talk about what's new, and what's new in this latest release of RedCap that we have running. And then we'll open up the floor to your questions. Just want to stress how important it is to receive your feedback. We have a link there at https://lecats.org/redcapfeedback. If you'd be so kind as to give us feedback on the webinar or on future topics or on questions that you have, we're happy to receive them. And like I've said before, this helps shape this webinar. So please take a moment now or anytime to fill out that survey, and we appreciate it. So let's move on to what's new. What's new? We're now on YouTube. That's right, RedCap Hours numbers 1 and 2 are now available on YouTube. So if I spoke too quickly in either of those, you can watch it on YouTube and rewind. Or if there was something you missed or you weren't sure what we clicked on, go back to the YouTube video and you're able to slow down, pause, skip ahead, replay as much as you like those videos. It's easy enough. Go to YouTube and search for RedCap Hour or Pennington Biomedical Research Center. And if you subscribe to the Pennington Biomedical Research Center YouTube channel, you'll be notified whenever we add new editions of the show. So this will be out there soon. Okay, next, what's new in RedCap? And that's exactly how I felt about this. Back at RedCap Hour number 1, when we first started this show, we were on LTS, long-term stable, version 7.0.8 back in August. Since then, we've upgraded our instance to 7.4.13, long-term stable. And you're probably asking yourself, well, what does that mean? What did we gain by moving up through those versions? So I thought that would be a good topic to cover today. I'm going to use some slides from Rob Taylor. Rob is the lead software developer and the project manager for the RedCap project at Vanderbilt. And he presented an entire slide deck on this topic at RedCapCon earlier this year, but I went ahead and borrowed the ones that apply to us, and so we'll cover using Rob's slides. I know you'll appreciate that. So first off, our first jump was 7.0, and what we gained by going to 7.0 was the ability to use repeating instruments and events. So if you recall, before this, you had to do things like add survey or instrument items like visit 1, visit 2, visit 3, visit 4. But with repeating instruments, you can actually have a visit entity that repeats, or an instrument that repeats itself, and allows you to build a one-to-many relationship, which will be unlimited numbers of, on the many side, if you will, as opposed to having to fix a number of occurrences of an event or instrument. So this was a huge improvement that RedCap needed to make, and we went into it in pretty good depth in RedCap Hour number 2. So if you'd like, go ahead onto YouTube and watch RedCap Hour number 2. We'll take you through how to create an instrument and how to make it repeating, and also doing a piece on how to take an event and make it repeating. And that's just a few bullet points that were pointed out about it. It makes it easy to collect data in a single project. It it's a feature that REDCap needed to add, really to go prime time, if you will, and it integrates on all levels. And I don't know if Paul Harris really said it's the best thing ever, but it's pretty great, and I imagine it'll be used a lot.
Definitely. Like some there isn't currently isn't a way to repeat a question over and over again, but a lot of times you might be able to take that question and then put it into a data collection instrument and have that repeated over and over again if it's applicable to your study. So that's what makes it really really good. So for instance, just recently I created a REDCap project, and we needed to collect the name and organization. So instead of adding it to the bottom of the list inside of a data collection instrument, I made that itself a data collection instrument, so I could repeat that instrument over and over and over again until however many submissions that the participant wants to submit in the survey. So it became really useful. Sometimes that was like 7 submissions or sometimes 10 submissions. And it's kind of hard to just, I mean, it's kind of inconvenient to create a bunch of variables and fields, you know, and label them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to collect that data. It's sometimes easier just to make that a data collection instrument and then make it a repeatable one. So yes. This also goes with the events as well. So
it is an exciting addition, and I think everybody will start to use it, and I think other things will be built off of it as well. But I'm excited to see it, and I think it's probably the best one. Really hate to blow it, but that's probably the best one we'll talk about today. But it's worth pointing out. So repeating instruments came in 7.0. In 7.1. They added better device management for the REDCap mobile app. Now, I don't have a lot of experience with the REDCap mobile app. Have you worked with it a lot, Daniel?
I have not worked with it a lot, just a minor bit before this update. So I haven't had enough experience in looking at this, but they did seem to add another area where you can actually go in and look at the details about who's using the mobile app inside your project. And with the mobile app, you can't just use the mobile app just standalone type of thing. You need to actually have it linked to a project inside of REDCap. So, but the best uses for the mobile app is typically where you don't have internet available. So if you need to go out, I guess it's kind of hard to find nowadays, but if you don't have a place to, I mean, if you have a place that you need to go to that doesn't have internet, or internet's just not reliable, then you can actually store the data on the REDCap mobile device. And what it does, it basically copies everything that you've done as far as the project goes into the mobile app, and then you'll see your surveys or data collection instruments on that app. And then when you get back to a place where you have reliable internet connection, you transfer that information over to the REDCap server. Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
So, but yeah.
So that's really the use of the REDCap mobile app. It's not a live mobile app that connects to your server in real time. Instead, it's for those moments when you're disconnected. And so some of these new features you can see, you can block a device. So if you were in the field with, let's say, iPads, and you were to misplace some, you can actually block the device so that it's no longer allowed to submit to the project. You don't have to revoke the API token like you may have had to do in the past. And then there's better logging as well, which is available right in place within the mobile app page in REDCap, which evidently you had to export that previously. I guess it's so important. So that's just a few points worth mentioning. If you are a REDCap mobile app user, we don't have a lot of use for this, but you may. So okay. 7.2. Custom record status dashboards. So this is interesting, and Daniel and I have been working on this just to see how we might use it. There's lots of configuration options that have been added now to the record status dashboard. You can put in a different title, a description. You can put in instructions about what to do with this particular view of the record status dashboard. You can choose to include or exclude instruments to make the display a little more streamlined, or if you want to draw attention to a specific instrument. You can also control sorting, control filtering, so you only show, let's say, if you're only interested in subjects who had an age of 30 or greater, you can filter so that only those would be shown in a certain view of the custom record status dashboard. So this is just another way, also control sorting, just a way to look at your data in different views, in a sense, and you can select which dashboard you want to see when you're viewing the custom, rather than the dashboard. Only those users with projects set up or design privileges can create these custom dashboards, but all users can view all dashboards. So whenever you create, you want to be able to share that with your other users because they will be able to see it. So again, we're still sort of feeling out the best uses for this, but it's new, and I think it will be used.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you pretty much mentioned everything. There could be a use. I mean, it's really boiled down for preference. You can switch the events. Like by default, it's sorted by event as the topic, and then then underneath it, it's sorted by the questionnaire. So in this picture, you're looking at enrollment as the event, and then the demographics and the baseline data as data collection instruments. So there is a way you can swap this out. Say if you wanted your demographics to take the place of the event name, which is enrollment, then you can have demographics and then have enrollment, then dose, then visit 1, then dose 2, with the demographics data collection instrument all next to each other, I guess. So just different events underneath it. So as a subtopic.
I think it's worth looking into just because it gives you a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
You know, your project, you'll see the value of it if it lends something to you. But again, it's new at 7.2.
I guess it depends on really how big your project is, and if it's easier just to do that versus what's by default. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you're in a big project that has a lot of instruments, then this might be a way to break those apart and actually create a custom status dashboard for each group of instruments, and you only have to look at them one screen at a time. Again, endless options here, but I think it will be useful probably in larger projects more so than smaller ones. All right. Next topic. Oh, okay. So survey response limit and time limit. So these two new features came out in 7.3, and response limit for surveys, this would be if you only wish to receive, let's say in this example, 500 responses and then stop the survey. So once 500 surveys are completed, the link will no longer be valid. You've gotten your 500 survey responses. So that's, I can imagine some cases where that might be useful. And then that's in contrast to time limit for survey completion. A time limit says once someone has started a survey, they only have, in this case, a week or a day or 10 minutes. I mean, really very specialized time parameters here, but it might suit you if you need to get a prompt response, or you only want them to spend a certain amount of time on the survey, or like I said, you only want a sample size of 100 or 10, the first 10 or something like that. These are just new features that came along in 7.3. Have you used any of these?
I have not needed to use any of those,
yeah.
But I thought it was interesting, and it can be useful for different projects because sometimes you don't want anything over like maybe 30 days or so inside your project. You don't need more data submissions. Maybe your study's over with. You don't want any more entries into the records, and you want to close off the study. So
yeah, this would limit it on the front end as opposed to on the back. So,
correct.
So that's interesting. Oh, and then you can also specify what text the respondent will receive if the max has been reached. You can customize that. Okay, and then 7.4. The version that we're currently on is 7.4, 7.4.13, I believe. And 7.4 brought about a new built-in facility called RedCap Messenger. Its implementation is optional, and I added this Ghostbuster sign here. This is we chose not to implement it in the LeCats instance of RedCap, well, after researching the tool and talking with the developers, actually the developer of this module presented at RedCapCon this year, we just decided that there's other ways to accomplish this feature's goals, which is to make data set sharing easier, which you can already do in RedCap. You don't have to have RedCap Messenger to do that, and then also it's easy enough to communicate via email or Skype for Business or Microsoft Teams. We have all those channels going currently. We didn't see that the addition of this channel was necessarily something we needed right now at this time. Now, the product might mature in time. It might have some sort of must-have feature that would make it the app that we would want to have. But for now, we're not utilizing this in the LeCats RedCap instance. You might need something exactly like this. Perhaps you're not on Skype for Business or some other messaging tool, and you need something like this to reach out to your admins or developers. But for us right now, we're holding off. But I want to tell you about it in case you want to.
In case you're wondering.
Yeah, in case you're wondering, what is this thing? Because it is seen as the major, and actually I think it might be the only real enhancement in 7.4 from what I could read about today, I think. Or at least it's the biggest in 7.4, and so anyway, so that's RedCap Messenger. Oh, okay, and then after presenting those stepwise improvements in each version at RedCapCon, they presented what was coming and what's next to come in RedCap. So just to hit these sort of at a high level. Something that will be coming in the next versions of RedCap, not the very next, but in the next probably major revision cycle. There'll be electronic health record integration with products like Epic, Cerner, eClinicalWorks, McKesson. Any EHR system that supports FHIR, F-H-I-R, the FHIR protocol. If you support that, then RedCap is able to actually query the data within your EHR system right inside of RedCap. So I described it to someone as being like ODBC for an EHR system. So this was very exciting. Currently, we don't have an off-the-shelf EHR system here at Pennington, one that would support FHIR. Like I said, built in. But I did speak with some different RedCap users at the conference who have written their own FHIR frameworks for custom-built EHR systems. So that might be something we'd be interested in. But I imagine this is going to be very popular for folks who use any of these systems because it will ease that integration. And supposedly it works very well for those people who have done it. But again, this is in the works and not in RedCap proper yet. So
that does seem very useful, though.
Yeah. I mean, if with this, reviewing and reporting on RedCap data is going to be a snap.
Yeah.
If you're using one of these systems, so that is coming. Something else that's coming, which was fairly interesting, in the event that you don't have a RedCap instance and perhaps you don't have IT staff in-house who could support a server and a MySQL instance and all the pieces that are needed, the RedCap team has worked to configure a one-click server launch via Amazon Web Services Marketplace. And I think they're just working on this. I don't think this is ready yet. But once it is ready, you'll be able to just as easily as this click on one quick launch, pick the version of the operating system you want, where you want it hosted, and then you see the charges right there. They're pretty small in terms of cost.
Yeah,
And voila, you've got your own RedCap server.
that's very interesting.
It's fascinating, yeah, and it's the power of open source, right? MySQL, RedCap,
Yeah.
boom, you have it, you can launch it. If you needed a dev instance or if you needed a very quick instance, just spool this up for pennies a day or pennies an hour, I guess. You can have your own RedCap server on AWS. Yeah, this is only going to open up the door for more people to have RedCap even faster. So that's pretty exciting. Again, to come. I think this is the last thing they focused on, and that is external modules within RedCap. So they're calling it the next big thing. What this will do is in the event that you've always wanted RedCap to do X, something that it doesn't do now, but you wished it would integrate with some commonly used system or I don't know. I can't imagine what these things are, but
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to give away your $1 million idea, right?
right, I'm still working on my external module. But if you think about RedCap as a suite, sort of like WordPress with WordPress modules, that's how I'm likening it right now. External modules will allow you to extend RedCap and do any sort of extension of services that you can dream up. And then you can submit that module to the community who will vet your code and then make it available in the library for other instances to use.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so they're calling it the democratization of RedCap.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so if you had something you always thought RedCap needed,
It's kind of like trying to make it more open source, I guess.
even more,
That's
yeah,
the case.
exactly.
Huh.
Oh, and then admins have to enable these modules, so you can't just the users can't pick up a module, install it, and run with it.
Yeah.
So it is planned, and then you want to keep in mind, that these things need to survive upgrade cycles, and I'm sure that's all going to be put into the standards around external module development. But they're calling it the next big thing, and I think we'll just hear more and more about it. So I think those items, the external modules, the Fire interface, and the AWS one-click install. These are things we'll see maybe in the next year or two. So
That would be fun.
yeah. I mean, it opens the door for sure. If you've always wanted RedCap to XYZ, you can. And I think that is those are all the topics that I had for today. Just looking in my email and the chat room to see if we have any questions that came up. But yes, I don't see any. So Daniel, did you have anything you wanted to add today?
I think you covered everything. So
Okay. Well, yeah, it's short and sweet. So those are all the new things in RedCap with our latest version 7.4.13. Yeah, I think that's right. This is our slide that we put in every month. So don't forget, if you use LeCats resources to cite LeCats, and if you use RedCap within your study, make sure you cite RedCap as well. There's links to those instructions. We talked about feedback at the start, and I'll just restate. If you have a moment, please go to lecats.org/RedCap feedback. We'd love to hear your feedback. Let us know what we can do. We want topics for the future. If you'd like to present something you're doing in RedCap, we'd love to see it. Or if you just have a question, send those to us at any time, redcap@pbrc.edu. And then here are some other links we've talked about previously. And unless Daniel wants to sing karaoke or something, I think we're done.
I think I'm passed. I'll be passed on that.
Okay. All right, great. Well, thanks so much, and happy Halloween, everybody, and we'll see you in November. Bye-bye.